Hello world, Robert here, and today we're working on the 2016 Odyssey and we're putting in a new alternator. Let's get to work. Here is our new alternator, and it's going right down in here. It's a little hard to get to, but here's how we're gonna do it. We're gonna disconnect the battery, we're gonna use some vice grips, clamp this hose here, and then remove it. You gotta clamp it, otherwise it leaks everywhere. Trust me, I know, because I did this yesterday. Yesterday, this thing died. We got the red battery light on the dash, and I got a new alternator. It's a remanufactured alternator from Oreillys. Put it in, measured everything. It was only making 13.15 volts. That is not enough. It needs to make 14 to 14 and a half. So I took it back, they tested it, confirmed, yes, it was no good right out of the box. So I got a new one, that's that one. And so we're gonna put it in. So you gotta remove a bunch of things over here. You gotta move this, get it out of the way, and you fish it up over there. And then this is your coolant overflow tank. You gotta remove that. You have to remove both clamps so that you have enough room to work. This has a line down below. That line right there. And you unclip that, and then you can pull it up up here on this plastic piece and just set it down out of the way. This is all so that you make a big space right here, because once you unclip your alternator from all of its the bolts and the wires, you bring it out through the top right here. So I am gonna set this up and then get to work. I'm also challenging myself. Yesterday I did this in about 2 hours, so today we're gonna cut that learning curve in half. So I'm gonna do this in less than an hour, including all this filming. So now I'm going to pull this hose off, and it is going to continue leaking from out of the engine block, or whatever this is connected to, on top of the block. Whoops. So I'm going to use a turkey baster to suck some of that out and put it back into the reservoir. That'll cut down on some of the mess that we are going to make here today. Now what I'm going to do is remove some of those boots on the back of the alternator so that I can remove the electrical connector and that large bolt that goes to the battery. All right, so there's the alternator right down there. There's a bolt on the top and a bolt on the bottom. There's also a little bracket. So there's need a hex driver to remove that one. So I'm going to get all three of those out next. Okay, it is loose now. I've gotten all the bolts out. So you need to kind of twist this thing back and forth, tilt it a little bit, and then you'll be able to bring it right up through this hole that we're looking down here. We made all this room for everything, so we're gonna pull this baby out now. As long as you unbolt the bracket for that air conditioning condenser line, it will move out of the way. You can push it forward and make room to slide that alternator out through. I wasted a lot of time on this the night before thinking I couldn't move that line, but unbolt it and make space and it'll come right through. That took me a lot longer last night. Oh no, which is which? Okay. Next, what you need to do is this thing right here. You see how there's a, it looks like a bushing or something in the middle there? This thing gets pushed back in when you tighten up the alternator, so you need to pull it back out because the alternator has a little bar that sits right in there, and that's where the bolt is threaded through. So if you don't push this thing back out, you won't have enough room in there. So a 3/4 inch 3/8 drive socket is the right size to fit over top of that bushing. And then you get a bolt like this, thread it through from the back, and then put this screw on the square side of your socket, and then just tighten it. And as you tighten that bolt, it will pull that bushing out and make room for you. It's kind of hard to tell right now, but it is sticking out. So I'm gonna pull it so that it is flat against that little piece down there. Okay, you see how that is sticking out a little bit further now? We will now have room. And back in with the new one. All right, I got everything hooked back up to the alternator, got the bolts in, got the electrical back on. Now I'm gonna put these pieces back in and hook up the electric, then we should be ready to go. Everything mounted, bolts are tight, belt is on, battery's hooked up. Let's see if it starts. What? No, I don't hear anything. Oh, you mean the chirping idler pulley? Yeah, that's the very next project I did, and I even filmed it to make a video, but then I somehow corrupted all the files, so no video on that one. Sorry. It started on the battery. Now's the real moment of truth. Let's see if I have more than 14 volts coming from my alternator. 14.09. That is good. Well, there we have it. We got an alternator in this Odyssey. It is functioning perfectly. I love it. Best part, I did it all in 58 minutes, so I cut yesterday's time in half. I'm so glad I had that practice time. So we got 141,000 miles on this baby. We're taking her past 300, so we're gonna fix everything that goes wrong from here to there. So join me on this journey. If you like what you saw today, please like and subscribe, and we'll put out more content just like this. Thank you.